This is Robin at Robin's Quilt Nest, and today I'm going to show you how to use the wave ruler tool. It's one of the many tools that we use here at Robin's Quilt Nest. What we're going to start off with is 2 strips of fabric, contrasting colors. We're going to be working with one of the 1-inch grids in your rotary mat. And you will take one of your strips of fabric and you will line it up onto that 1-inch grid. You will take the other strip of fabric right sides up and also overlap it and line it up that 1 inch. Then we're going to take our wave ruler, and it has 2 sides. We're going to be working with the larger side, but it also has a smaller wave. Now when you're working with a smaller wave, you're going to work with this line. When you're working with the larger wave, we're going to be using this line here. So you're going to take this line here, this dashed line, and you're going to line it up with that 1-inch grid that you've chosen on your mat, which then that line will line up with the yellow fabric there, right along the yellow fabric, and onto the 1-inch grid on the mat. So line those up. Then you want to take a 28mm rotary cutter and hold your ruler down and begin cutting. You want to use the smaller rotary cutter because it allows you to cut along these curves much easier. There. Now you have some salvage that you want to just get out of the way. Throw that to the side. And then what we'll do is flip this over, and you want to line up the hills and the valleys, and they'll line right up. Then you want to get a pair of scissors, and you want to clip only the valleys. Now by putting the fabrics on top of each other, you're clipping both pieces of fabric, the valleys on both pieces of fabric. Then you want to move this up, and you want to line up your hills and valleys, just like this. I line them up, and then you want to put a pin only on your hills. Just like this. Now I'm going to take this over to the sewing machine, and I'm going to show you how to sew our wave. Now what you want to remember is that you always want to keep your fabrics even with each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the very tips of them even, and I'm going to put that under my machine, and I'm going to get it started. And I'm going to take a couple stitches. And we're going to be using some tweezers here. And you're going to take your tweezers, and you're going to begin pulling the top fabric up to meet the bottom fabric, because that's what you want to do at all times while you're sewing these 2 pieces of fabric together. You want to keep them even and continue sewing around. Now once you come around to your hills, you'll start saying, oh, I don't see my bottom fabric. Well, just reach underneath there and make sure it's still there. It usually is when you're around where you've pinned, and continue sewing around, making sure that the fabrics are even. And you do a little bit of adjusting with the fabric, mostly with the top fabric, but I also work with the bottom. I keep one of my fingers underneath the bottom fabric, and so I'm kind of pulling both of them. But it's mostly the top one. You just bring your tweezers and pull that top fabric up even with the bottom fabric. And then you'll sew around. You'll see where you came to your clipped areas. Just, if you need to, just take a couple stitches at a time. If you need to, like I said, reach underneath, make sure that fabric's still there. And you're coming around to your heel again. Those always stay pretty even. Coming around. Now see, we're starting to get uneven. So I'm going to start pulling that top fabric up to meet the bottom fabric. Continue. It's just like you're sewing on a straight line. That's what it's like. You're just sewing a straight line. Bring that top fabric up to meet the fabric underneath. You're around your heel again. And then sew it around. Bring that top fabric up. Tug a little bit on the bottom if you need and bring it around. And then cut it and take your pins out so we can see our wave. I'm going to fingerprint it here a little bit. Now, of course, if you were at home, you would use your iron. It turns out really nice. You'll be very happy with it. And there's your wave. Now I'm going to go back over to my sewing machine because I'm going to show you how to cut longer strips off the wave ruler. Now on a lot of our fabrics like this one, Flamingo Pink, we use a lot of our strips are by width of fabric. So like on this particular pattern, this strip is 6 inches by width of fabric, then we have a 3-inch by width and a 2-inch by width of fabric. So we need some longer strips. But since our ruler is a little shorter, I'm going to show you how to cut the longer strips. So again, I'm going to take 2 contrasting colors, but if you notice, I have them cut by width of fabric here, so I'm going to keep them folded the way they are. And again, I'm going to pick a 1-inch grid out, and I'm going to line the bottom up also with the line at the bottom. And I'm going to take my other strip that I have cut and overlap it that 1 inch. And again, I want to keep that fold also lined up with that bottom line. So again, I'm going to be working with the larger wave. Now you always want to cut your strips when you have them folded like this. I like cutting them on the top of the wave, like here. So here at the very top of the wave, I want to cut that. So I'm going to line up my line again with there. But I'm going to bring this ruler at the very end there because I want it at the top of the wave. And these are a little bit harder, so see, I need to bring this over a little more, so I'm just going to do some adjusting. When you're talking about longer strips, sometimes you have to adjust a little bit more, and that's good. We just want to adjust it till it gets right, and then put our line on there, because that line should be pretty much even with our fabric. And then line up with also the grid line on the board. And make sure our fold is on the top of the curve. So, I'm going to begin cutting here. Just like that. And again, you're going to have salvage, so you want to throw your salvage away. And then we're going to open these up like this, and open your other one up. And again, you're going to line up your hills and your valleys. And I'm going to begin clipping them. And I just move these up. Make sure I get them lined up again. Hills and the valleys. And again, what this does is it allows you to clip both pieces of fabric at the same time. And you want to give 3 or 4 snips. That's what I'm doing, between 3 and 4 snips here. And our last one. Okay. Now what I want to do is move this over. Let's move this stuff out of the way so you guys can see. And I'm going to line up my hills with my valleys. My hills with my valleys. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to only pin the hills and the valleys. And I always pin mine a little bit below so that when I go to sewing them, I don't have to be worrying about running into them with my sewing machine. Okay, now as you can see, I have all my hills and valleys pinned. Now I'm going to take this over to the sewing machine again and show you how to sew the weight. So again, our goal is to keep the fabrics even with each other. I'm not too worried about the salvage too much because that's going to be cut off. So I'll get my corners even with each other and I'll start sewing. And again, you want to get your tweezers out and you're going to begin pulling that fabric up even with the fabric underneath. Like I say, if you don't see the fabric underneath, kind of take your tweezers and make sure it's still there. There you have a hill. We're coming back around. It's not pulled up, so I'm going to stop and I'm going to start pulling the fabric from the top. Making sure that top piece is matching the bottom piece. And I kind of have my finger on the bottom piece, so if I need to, I can kind of tug on that bottom piece. But it's mostly the top piece that I work with. with the tweezers is keeping those fabrics even. And when you come around to your hills, it's normally they're pinned so they're even pretty much. Go back around, now you're starting back down, so now you need to start pulling that fabric up again. And pull it. And what it is, it's like sewing a straight line. Don't worry so much. As long as you're keeping those fabrics even with each other, you will be fine. And again, I want to tug to make sure that bottom fabric's there. And it is. And I can continue going around. And bring that up. And sometimes when you're sewing this, you think, oh, this is going to turn out terrible. But it doesn't at all. It's very forgiving and it's very easy. Easy way to do waves. And like I said, if you have some doubts about that fabric underneath, just stick your tweezers under there and make sure it's still there. There it is. Go around. There's your clips again. It gives you the give you need. And checking underneath to make sure we're still even. And I am using a 1/4 inch seam. And just pull. Like I say, I keep a kind of a finger on the fabric underneath, so if I need to, I can pull fabric underneath, and with the tweezers, I pull the fabric on top. Sometimes it's hard to grab that fabric, but the more you do it, you'll see it. You actually get really fast with it. And pull your fabric up. And it's just a nice tool to learn. I know a lot of our patterns, and you should go to our website at www.robinsquiltnest.net and check our patterns out. We use a variety of tools which have videos on our website to show you how to use them. Or even if you need to call us at any time, we're available for your help. And we're almost done. Our last hill. So I'm going to bring this up. Bring it up. And we're back around to our little clips. Almost done here. There you go. And we'll cut it. And then we'll take our pins out, and we'll get to see how lovely our waves look. I just really love this tool, and I'm sure you will enjoy it too. And like I said, I'm going to finger press this a little bit, but it's for sale on our website for $22. Again, at www.robinsquiltnest.net. And here we go. That's our wave roller. Very nice tool. And make sure you visit our website for other tools that we give demos of. And take a look at our patterns. I'm sure you'll enjoy them. Thank you very much.